creepy.
We'll do it live.
It's got a real NSA kind of vibe to it. Well, welcome back tonight. Joining me again, Anthony, Ricky. Big surprise. But we have Andrew, our star guest, and we've got Jeff sitting in a corner, acting appropriately. Andrew, welcome.
How's it going?
Good, thanks, man. So, Andrew, I've got some real questions for you involving women and dating.
Yeah, I've definitely been around the block, so...
It seems like you have you have a lot of good ideas, though.
Yeah, I think they're very counterintuitive, but they're very intuitive once you wrap your head around the fact that you've been fed lies your entire life.
Can you give us kind of like just a summation, your feelings?
A summation? Well, I mean, I could write a manifesto. I could write a 5,000-page manifesto on my feelings of dating and the experiences I've had, but the biggest thing is that people don't realize that women don't say what they mean, right? If every guy would understand women if they judged women not by the words that come out of their mouth, but by the things that they do, right?
What do they do?
They do do what they feel, right? Women are driven by emotion, and we're driven by logic, right? So when you talk to a woman, you assume that she's operating on the same plane of existence that you are, but she's not. And it's not for better or for worse. It's just different, right?
I don't know, but I try not to talk to women. Oh. It's just too distressing. It's very distressing.
Well, that's the big one, right? That's the big one. Yeah. So you listen, but you judge them based on their actions, not based on their words, because they're emotional beings. Right?
Guys, do you feel emotional?
Yes.
Right now, no. No.
Oh yeah. I mean, not now. I think my relationship is, she's more the logical, I'm more the emotional.
Ooh.
But.
Well, I mean, it's a spectrum too, right? It's not like you're not boxing everybody into the same thing, but I guess to generalize.
Right.
There's outliers in every axis and whatnot, but that's been my experience. And when I realized that, I came to accept them for who they were, and my relationship with women has grown exponentially, both romantically and platonically. Sure,
but you also expressed like this desire to kind of like teach men, how...
I think guys my age, I've seen a lot of guys my age that struggle. I can't speak to the older generations, but I really can't. I can't. But we're fed, a little bit older. We're fed all this information, and then you vent instead of venting here, which I think is very cathartic, with some guys around a table having some whiskey. You vent on your echo chamber in social media, right? And maybe you're ignorant and you think you're getting out there and you're reaching people, but you're really just preaching to the people that... What do you do? Are you disparaging our podcast and our listenership? What? No, are you disparaging our podcast and our listener? I mean, but anybody who chooses to listen to you in a way, they're at your mercy, and if you bring in like-minded individuals, then they may just be listening to an echo chamber of their own thoughts, right? But if you bring in, if you're like a Joe Rogan type, right, where he brings in conservatives, he brings in liberals, he brings in... We brought in Andrew. You brought in me, just a wild card that lives across the alley. Yeah. No, but... it's not a political... But you brought up a good point. They are at your mercy in terms of the information that's being digested, right? Of course, yeah. And and the people that you subscribe to on Facebook or Instagram, you're at their mercy for the type of content that you I feel a little bit lost. What does that all mean in terms of capturing women? Because you seem to be the guy that could tell us how to capture women. I thought that's what you said. I thought you said you were the Captain
woman
Jack Sparrow here. Like we're not. We're not like going out with lassos.
That's the impression that I had of you, sir.
I watched it
mostly because of your height.
Yes.
And yes.
Well, when you are a certain height, you are allowed to lasso women.
That's what I thought.
It's a uncommon. It's a law that most people don't know.
Man, so you're acting like I'm crazy.
Right. No, but it is me. Yes.
Clearly, it's the law of nature.
Slightly psychotic. So,
but it sucks for the rest. What did the rest of us do? those who aren't so tall and bearded.
You just be honest. This is the same conversation we had the other night. You just be honest.
We're doing it on a recording.
Brutally honest with people, though.
Just testing you the other night. Yes.
You weren't. Well, maybe you were. You asked me to read a 3,600.
No. I just an interview. I told you about the book, but I wanted you to just a 30-minute interview.
Right. Because that's the natural come down from Dostoevsky, right?
Yeah.
Is you read a Norwegian.
We're talking about the My Struggle series.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Well, so what we were talking about, for purposes of conversation, Andrew is adamantly about being authentic, right? Being true and authentic.
Being just, I guess, more so just true.
True.
But yeah,
authentic.
You
use the word authentic too.
I think you're authentic when you're truthful about how you feel about things.
Yeah, of course. So I brought up Knausgaard. In this interview, he was talking about how it was impossible to be authentic, and how he wrote this 3,600 page tome of his life in which he had to sever a lot of relationships with his family and friends, and his wife was very upset with him for airing out a lot of their drama. And he was asked, how did you guys reconcile this? And he said, well, I had to admit to my wife that we have been living a lie the entire time we've been together. I've always lived a lie. You've always lived a lie. It's all a lie. And once she agreed, we went back to living the same lie. So that's what I was kind of like countering your ideas with, because it seems like you're coming from a place where like you need to be honest all the time and upfront,
right?
And it works for you. But I'm more like in the Knausgaard camp where I think like everybody's just lying all the time.
Well, it's polarizing to be truthful, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because when you're polarizing by being truthful, the people around you will self-select whether they want to be in your life or not. So it takes away all the bullshit. Someone's either like, I like that, or I don't. And either one of those is okay.
Yeah.
Either one of those options, but it takes away any ambiguity in my life. And I know that then the people that want to hang out with me, because I can be a blunt asshole, but I'm being honest about how I feel, I know that they truly want to hang out with me. And there's no middle ground, and it's awesome.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Okay.
And I think you should you have to be careful in certain situations, but for the most part, obviously, you should be truthful. And if that offends someone, if they love you, if it's romantic, they're still going to love you. They're going to love you more, right?
Yeah, I guess I would hope so. What do you guys think? Anthony? Ricky?
I don't know. Sounds good. I mean, makes sense to me.
I think you guys are freaked out and intimidated by Andrew's witchcraft. He's a warlock, clearly.
Yes.
And he's freaky, and you're freaked out.
Tolkien has rubbed off on me. So.
Just be honest.
I mean,
for once in your lives.
I've always been honest. Yeah. I think that's why I have very few friends.
See, there you go.
No,
and maybe I'm coming from a place where I am coming from a place where I didn't used to be honest with myself, right? So this is like the last 4 years or so. It's been a huge revelation, right?
Yeah.
But if maybe you've been honest, maybe people figured that out a long time before I did, and I'm sure they did. So,
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
Being honest.
Yeah.
With yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's always that thing in the back of your head that says, well, someone's going to judge me for this. And they are going to judge you, but that's a good thing.
Yes.
Right? I guess that's what I was getting at.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Freaking crafty Andrew and his stupid logic. Always showing me up. My own home, my own podcast. But... Has it ever caused you any anguish? Has it ever backfired on you at all?
What do you mean by backfired?
The honesty principle.
Well, if you say that you're going to live a life of honesty, and something is ruined by virtue of you being honest, then you can't say that that's backfired, because that's your ethos, right? Mm-hmm. That's my ethos, is I'm going to be honest. So if something unfortunate comes of that, like I'm honest to my boss and I lose my job, or I'm honest to a friend and I lose a friend, I can't then say that was a negative thing, right? It was just a step towards becoming self-actualized, or becoming the best version of myself, right?
Sure. So what is self-actualization?
I don't know. I mean, that's a broad question, man. That's really? A big one. For me, it's being honest. For me, it's being 100% comfortable being honest. But for you, it could be a very different thing.
Yeah.
Right? How do you feel most fulfilled and most...
When I lie to
How do you feel most fulfilled? Yeah. You're a sociopath. It's beautiful.
I lie to you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable. Yeah. Was that weird?
No. I mean, there's plenty of people there's plenty of sociopaths and narcissists.
There's plenty of sick people like me.
Yeah, I mean, I think my brain operates in a way that if I wanted to be really fucked up and lie all the time, I could. But I'm choosing to walk the other way.
But I would say the opposite. That I think most of us lie. I would say that you're the crazy one in this sense.
I might be.
In the sense that you're so honest. That's what seems crazy. In my experiences.
Crazy in the sense that it's out of the norm.
Yes,
I would agree,
like just so...
But I think that it's probably the way we should be operating, is just being truthful.
I agree too,
And I just had a question, like, when you're talking about, like, being truthful and honest and then the repercussions that come, are you talking about, like, when people ask you your opinion, or being, like, just walking up to people and going, dude, you're an asshole? Or, I guess, like, my question is it like Liar, Liar, where that with Jim Carrey, right, where he would just open his mouth and just shit would just keep coming out? Or is it more of like, just keep it to yourself, and when you're asked your opinion, just be honest?
Yeah, the latter, for sure.
Yeah, then I definitely think that's something that we all should fucking strive towards doing.
Yeah.
But I think that society, just the way that society is, we're conditioned to not do that. We're conditioned to lie. It's easier for us to just tell people what we think they want to hear than it is to just tell them how you honestly feel and deal with the repercussions. I totally agree.
Right, and here's the thing, and Billy and I have talked about this before, but this is maybe a controversial opinion, but I think the alt-left is equally as damaging to this country as the alt-right right now. On the alt-right, you have unified racism, right? We know what that is. The alt-left, we have no fucking idea what it is. It's people trying to create new pronouns, Z and Zer. It's this extreme feminist movement, and it's this push to make the sexes equal, right? Yes. And that's horribly damaging.
Yes.
Right? And that kills uniqueness. It kills I can't talk.
Individual.
Individual.
That's the term of the century.
Right?
Yeah. No, you're right. I get what you're saying. Yeah. It kills individuality.
This Google thing, right? This Google doc that came out. Now, when you release something like that, you should expect to be fired, right? But if you've he was a doctor. I believe he was working on their cloud platform or Drive platform, one of the two. And he wrote a manifesto, or not even a manifesto, just a document about a memo. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And it was originally internal, and it was about differences in the sexes and ways that you can recognize those differences and apply that to promote an equal balance of men and women in the workplace, right?
Right.
I remember it caught my attention probably in the same way that it caught everybody who's read attention, because all the headlines were like, misogynistic Google employee gets fired. And my first thought when I read a sensationalized headline like that is, I'm going to read it. Well, if you read it, there's nothing misogynistic about it. He cites all of his sources with peer-reviewed studies, right? And I think him getting fired was probably a natural repercussion of doing something like that. But that's a great example of the fracture we have in society, because all of this left-wing media jumps on it, and instead of critically looking at the article, says, oh, he's talking about differences between the sexes. He's a misogynist, right? And they're pushing that narrative, and the 10% on either side, the alt-right, the alt-left, they're getting all of the coverage right now. And they're driving the 90% of us that are sane, rational individuals apart. Right. And we're, it's a lot more boring to say man writes very interesting memo on potential solution to the gender divide, the gender gap within big tech in Silicon Valley, right? That's not as many people are going to click on that article as misogynist gets fired from Google for writing Communist Manifesto. Sure. Right. But so that's just an example of the other side of society that people don't want to acknowledge. Because it's easier to identify a KKK member that drove a car into someone and killed them. That's a more readily identifiable thing that's fracturing society than the other side. But the other side's equally as, in a less violent way, equally as equally to blame.
Well, questionable on the less violent aspect. I mean,
I suppose, yeah.
A lot of these anti-fa movements, they go and they start violence. They start throwing rocks at cops, and they incite riots. And then, but the news doesn't show you that part. And there's been reports I've seen on YouTube where, and even during generally peaceful protests as a whole, there'll be one corner where something's going on and all the media is flocked there. I've seen YouTube videos of people with their cell phones, and it's one kind of confrontation going on in the corner, and you got 20 network cameras all on the incident going on. But yet, as they continue through the rest of the protest, it's peaceful. There's nothing really big going on. But then all the headlines or whatever was happening on that corner at that moment, and so there is there are people on the left who are just as violent. And when I watched the clips from Charlottesville, I can't tell who's who, because they're all kind of dressed the same, and they're all fighting each other, and they're all I don't know, they're just engaged in a fight and in a skirmish, and you're seeing from both ends people picking fights. And so it just becomes I find it very convenient that the media has identified one side as being violent but ignores the violence on the other side.
That's a great point, right? MSNBC does that, where they sensationalize the alt-right, and Fox does it where they sensationalize the alt-left, and to find out where reality actually is almost impossible for someone like you, for anybody like us, who's not on the ground there. We have to either take it for what it's worth or call it complete bullshit, but I don't think we can come and say, well, it's probably halfway in between.
Exactly, yeah.
Because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't get that option.
Yeah, it's awful.
And that's where they're...
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Jews.
You always find a way to bring it back to that, don't you, Billy?
Whenever I have a hard time coming up with something to fill the gap, the first word that comes to mind is Jews. Is that weird?
Well, tell them about what you told me about your flight to Turkey.
My Jewish experience. This is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was on the plane to Turkey, and I was sitting next to a Orthodox Jew, and I mean the real deal.
With the curls,
and everything.
Beard.
Oh yeah, he had beard,
full on Hasidic,
whole thing, Hasidic Jew, and his sons who were 14 years old. They also had the curly hair, the yarmulkes, not the beards, because biology won't allow them to have them. But they were very, very, very Jewish. And I told this guy, I said, "Wow, turns out I did a DNA test. I'm Jewish. On my dad's side, I'm Ashkenazi Jew, 8%. He said, "Oh, on your father's side, you're not a Jew." Well, yeah. That's why everybody hates you.
Why? Because they recognize they trace lineage through the mother instead of the father?
In a sense.
And everybody else does it the other way around?
Because they have a built-in... Oh, this is going to kill me later. But yes.
Let it out, Billy.
Because they have a built-in system for excluding other people.
So does every other nation on the planet.
Right. No, they don't. Not every other nation. Yeah. Not every other nation. No, that's not fair. A lot of nations are inclusive. Not every nation is exclusive. They are one of the few nations that are completely exclusive. You are either in or you're out, and that's it.
I agree that there's varying degrees of that, but name me a country that doesn't have a large percentage of the country that's exclusive.
Well, honestly, our own country is a perfect example.
What percentage of the country, wants to keep all immigrants out?
Okay, sure. There's a part of it that is exclusive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a part of it. Oh, you're saying that there's no part.
I'm saying you'd be hard pressed to find a country or a group of people.
That's not exclusive at all.
That's not.
No, you're probably right that there's no nation on earth that doesn't exclude to some degree. But what I'm saying is that there's a group of people out there, these Jewish people out there, who say, Oh, jeez.
No, dude,
I hate being painted in the anti-Semitic corner. No, it's not.
The internet is a safe space.
We're putting
definitely when it comes to anti-Semitic views.
Well, that's what bothers me about it, and I'm surprised that I'm the only one who really sees this. That's why they are so hated, because they're so exclusive.
I can.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
and it's the arrogance.
But you understand. You understand that from like a evolutionary perspective, right?
What do you mean?
That's the survival of the race, right? That's where that comes from. That's where Hitler's disgust of Jews came from, right? It's cemented in biology and evolution, right? It is evil at its core, but it's Dr. Jordan Peterson can say this much more eloquently. Than I can.
This fellow, yeah.
But you think about
for the folks at home. Who is Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson is a professor of behavioral economics and some psychology related field at the University of Toronto, and he's gotten in a lot of trouble recently because he is not conceding that linguistic territory with the new pronouns that the Canadian government has actually passed a bill.
I read about that. Also,
that you have to recognize.
Yes, he's also in trouble because he sounded like a dick. Remember that? That was in USA Today.
He's in trouble.
Professor sounds like dick.
Well, he gets in trouble because he's just honest. Yeah. Because he's brutally honest, and he won't concede that linguistic territory.
Right.
Right.
Are you in trouble there, Jeff?
Yes, I am.
Jeff's attempting to exit the door.
He's attempting to flee the podcast.
Well, I just want a cigarette.
Jeff, we should have never invited you into this podcast if you were going to flee.
Well, shit.
You're fleeing the podcast.
I'll stay.
This is a recording. You nut.
Yeah, it's a recording. That means you can edit it.
Well, we can, but we don't want to.
Try not to put
I want to make it real, Jeff.
But you think about the devastation, back to what we were talking about, the devastation that occurred to the Native American population. When Native Europeans brought over diseases, right? Yeah. I mean, it was widespread. So that biological imperative to keep others out that are not of the same genetic makeup, it's not socially acceptable to talk about, but there's a reason for it, and that doesn't mean that there aren't bad people. Hitler was an awful person, but there's a biological imperative there. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I totally see it.
No, sorry, I was coffee. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, my only question to Billy is, why the fuck does it bother you? So, with them being so exclusive, that you're either in or you're out. How does that affect your day-to-day life?
Billy really want to be in.
So yeah. Jewish people don't recognize you as being Jewish. How does that affect your fucking day-to-day life?
It doesn't, to be honest.
Then why would you hate them? Why would
no, I don't.
No, not you personally. I'm talking you in general. You see what I'm saying? It's like, why would anybody...
No, I don't.
It's not rational.
Because I'm a little bit more enlightened, I think, than the people of the last 200 years in Europe. But I understand...
But Billy, the man that you were sitting next to on the airplane probably feels the exact same way.
What way?
He's more enlightened than you are.
Yeah, he does feel that way because he's a dick. I'm not a dick. That's the difference. Well, you guys can't see that? You've known me for a long time, Anthony. You're not a dick. Answer the question. Am I a dick? Anthony, am I a dick?
Sometimes.
Ricky, am I a dick?
Yes, you are.
You assholes. You shitty assholes.
The first step is acknowledgement, Billy.
I'm inspired to be truthful, Billy.
Oh, God.
This podcast is about being honest.
Can of worms. Why did I invite you, Andrew? You fucked
up the whole program. And being a dick are synonymous a lot.
I was the only non-dick in this group until you showed up. And I'm the worst human being. Ricky's a child molester.
Wow.
Anthony's a Darwinist denier. What? I think he denies the Holocaust too. But now I'm the worst.
Mel Gibson on the weekends.
Oh, God.
But again, you bring it back to the Jews.
Well, I do that.
You have a preoccupation with the Jews, and I'd like to know more about it.
I do. Yeah, no.
What's going on? Was there like an experience when you were younger, or
no, not at all. It's
a game of dreidel gone wrong.
They're the easiest scapegoat, aren't they? And they always have been.
Are they the easiest scapegoat?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so.
They always have been. Always have been.
No, I think
who would you say?
Islam. No, in modern America, Islam's a much easier scapegoat.
For comedic effect, though. That's where I'm getting at. Comedic effect.
Okay,
You say the Jews, we get a laugh. You say Islam, no one gives a shit. No one laughs. Like, well, what about Islam? And you have to explain yourself. That's a lot of work.
So it's just that, okay.
Yeah,
right.
That's really what it is. It's comedic effect. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Unless you're on an airplane.
Or does it? Or unless I'm... Well, no, I guess that did bother me to an extent because... maybe it doesn't matter in my day-to-day life. But, if I'm thinking about the history of that culture, and I'm interested in it. I don't hate Jews, but I'm interested in any ancient culture. And the fact that their culture is so ascendant. It's a dominant culture. It informs everything in Christianity and Islam. There would be no such thing as the major religions, Christianity and Islam, without Jews. It just wouldn't exist without that one tiny, tiny religion that has always been tiny and is still tiny in terms of followers. So yes, I'm very interested in this. I'm also interested in the fact that that religion is very, very exclusive. It says you don't exist unless you are born under certain circumstances within their religion.
They say you don't exist, or you're just not Jewish?
I think it's one and the same. I think it's one and the same. You're not Jewish, you don't exist. I think it's the same.
Then how do they have conversations with you? How do they ask, on your father's side,
know what I mean?
you're
like,
not Jewish?
Okay, it's not like you're a ghost.
Not in the flesh.
I mean,
But you don't exist on the same plane. Like, you're almost like a czar speaking to a peasant. Like you're on that level. You're a peasant. You're not in my realm.
Right.
Well, I mean, but what? If you don't mind a bit of interjection.
Whoa, Jeff is coming into the conversation.
I mean,
we got Jeff now.
The three main Abrahamic faiths: Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, and Islam, right?
Catholicism would be Christianity, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, the other two, Islam, Christianity. One of the tenets is kind of like you got to spread the word about it.
Exactly.
And I've never heard anything about that for Judaism
because it's not just a tenet.
Yeah.
It's not a tenet of their faith. Yeah, exactly.
It's just believe what you want. If they don't believe it, that's their problem.
Well, it's more. It's not just believe what you want. It's that you're born into it. They don't evangelize. They don't go door to door because you're part of it or you're not.
So they're not actively recruiting.
Exactly. Yeah, they never.
They're not Jehovah's Witnesses.
Exactly. They're not Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not Mormons. They're not Catholics. They're not Christian. They don't go door to door and recruit. They never have. In their history, they never have. You're either in or you're not. And I feel like that's what has really bothered people. I feel like that's what bothers Hitler. I feel like that's what bothered a lot of other anti-Semites throughout history. It's an exclusive crew.
Hitler's issue at all.
No?
No. I think he was disgusted by them.
But why?
Huh?
I'd love to hear it. Well, why?
Because they weren't Aryan. They weren't the master race, and they weren't. This evolutionary rejection of outside forces is incredibly powerful, and there's parallels with disgust, right? Mm-hmm. And disgust is far more powerful than hate. If you hate someone, you're not going to go out and exterminate an entire race. If you're disgusted with someone, if you think they're disgusting, you may, right?
Yeah, it's easier for you to say though because you're so tall, handsome.
You keep coming back to my height, like it's my view is not
because comedy is important here. But yes,
difference.
No, I get it. No, I understand what you mean.
You just have a higher perspective on things.
I mean, physically, yes.
Yes, you have a physically higher perspective.
Yes, I fit into planes.
So what? It
less,
bothers me.
I have a harder time fitting into planes than you guys do.
Yes. No, I don't think so, though. I mean, I don't think that Hitler really, if we're going to bring it back to the man himself, I don't think that he thought about it that much. I think he was more of a victim of his time. I don't think that he really gave a shit one way or the other about Jews. I think it was all a means to a certain end for him in just achieving power.
Well, what's a great unifying force? Just find someone everyone can hate.
Which has been going on for centuries in Europe. It's something that we can't identify with as Americans, but for Europeans, it's universal. They hate Jews. That's a.
I love like
Europeans hate Jews.
I mean, maybe back when they
sign off
excluding them and making them go to Poland, but now
no, they do though. They do.
What do we have to talk about to make this your most controversial podcast ever?
It's going to take a lot.
I take us into some dark.
I mean, you know, Billy sitting there saying that Hitler was a victim. I mean, this is the mildest this podcast has gone.
I think you're right.
History misunderstood him.
Oh, for God's sake, I think you're right. What the hell have I become? I'm a Hitler.
Oh, it's a safe space, Billy. It's a safe space.
I mean, yes.
What's the next topic? Does the Pope diddle kids or what?
We've already talked about child molesting on this
Yeah, well,
podcast.
Ricky's the only one who diddles kids as we've covered.
I mean, you keep saying that, and then like 20 years later, he's going to have to end up on court, and this is going to be evidence.
No.
I keep saying that? No, I never said that. Does the Pope fuck kids? No, I don't think so.
I doubt it. Not this one.
Not this one. I agree. Yeah, not this one. Not this one.
He seems like a decent dude.
Yeah, he seems like a decent dude.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, you know, a lot of people have seemed decent, and you find out they're diddling kids.
So Andrew, guest extraordinaire. Were you raised religious?
No.
No?
I went to church maybe 10 times total growing up. Mostly like New Year's Eve. Not New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve. Easter things. My mom was in a religious household. My dad wasn't.
Okay.
And they just kind of gave up on it, and now they're sort of agnostic, atheist leaning, I guess.
So you weren't raised in a real strict religious environment?
No, I was raised in a very free, whatever makes you happy.
Oh, man.
Billy?
Well, I wasn't. I was raised in a sucky environment. I think they call it. Really sucky environment.
That
you
is
have
the
to go to church.
term.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
You know, you complain about it, but it's 1 hour out of the week. There's a lot worse.
Jeff, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You're still young.
Yes, it was sucky. Ricky can attest. It sucked.
Yeah. The
He
only
used to
time
have to go to church with me. My parents. It sucked.
I always made that mistake of spending the night at Billy's house on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Then we outsmarted them, you know. I stayed at Billy's on Friday. He came to my house Saturday, so he didn't have to go to church.
Look at that.
Got to watch good movies.
You gamed the system.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tried, but my mother was very clever.
She was.
She made sure that I got to church when the church met. Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, Sunday morning, Sunday nights. Then they didn't meet any. It's like those days, and that's it. They didn't meet any more than that.
Why didn't you like that? Why did you think that was a shitty situation?
Oh, shit. I think I was born with a natural aversion to authority. I hated authority from the day I was born.
Right.
Yes. Hated my parents. Hated them instantly.
Like out of the womb hate.
Yes. Yeah.
But not like Hitler levels of disgust.
No, I did.
Just normal levels of hate.
Not about being honest here. Truthful conversation. Yeah, no, I hated it. Because I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask for this predicament.
Right.
And yet I was forced to deal with it.
Right.
It's like, fuck you, telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Where to go to school, how to dress, what to believe. This Christian church, this Catholic church, the bouncing back and forth. I was so resentful of the whole thing.
When you said Christian and Catholic, did you mean different sects of Christianity?
Yes, because I was raised Catholic till I was 10, and then my mother made a big switch to the Protestant faith. Because I don't think she knew what she really believed. My dad never believed.
Right.
He just went along with whatever my mom wanted to do.
Happy wife is a happy life.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rod hates any kind of controversy.
Yeah,
he just
exactly.
stayed away from.
Just kind of back down from the whole
conflicts.
Conflict, yeah. But to go back to the Jews.
Anthony was like, I was waiting.
Well, when I was about 18, I went through a real religious experience. I read the Quran, and I went to a Jewish church. And here's the thing. I joke about the Jews all the time, but the thing is, if I really were to subscribe to a religion completely, it would be the Jews. I think the Jews are the only ones that have it figured out completely.
What do they have figured out?
Their relationship with God is completely on the same level of themselves. They argue with God. they don't agree with everything. Like a lot of the Christian faiths that I've been associated with, they agree with everything. It's doctrine. They subscribe to the doctrine. The Jews will argue with it. Oh, you don't think I should eat a pig? Well, fuck you. What's wrong with a pig? Pigs are delicious. Why shouldn't I eat a pig? I love the idea that Jews argue with God as if he's a person. Christians don't. What? No?
No, I guess. Yes, I see a lot of...
I don't know.
Angela's
Judaism.
really... Huh?
No, this is just interesting for me. I don't know enough about Judaism.
They do. And I really love the fact that they argue with everything.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being combative is the way
You never saw Fiddler on the Roof?
Never saw Fiddler on the Roof.
Watch Fiddler on the Roof.
Saw Schindler's List, though.
They didn't do much arguing there.
Didn't go too great for him in that one.
Because Ricky's really upset at the fact that you don't like movies. So please tell me about your Schindler's List experience.
Yeah, it's like the most profound movie I've ever seen in my life.
Is it really?
Oh,
it is really
by a mile. The girl in the red that you see twice in the film.
Yeah,
you see her walking into the concentration and leaving her house, and then you see her on the conveyor belt of bodies.
Yeah,
you're just like, shit, man. Yeah, and then at the end when they're putting the rocks on
his grave,
on Schindler's grave,
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't watch a lot of movies, but that movie is amazing.
Really, you really think so?
Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
That's why we don't record at Billy's much.
What?
Just the sirens and everything.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of noise pollution. No. Schindler's List is good. Actually, this year is the first time I ever watched the movie.
Really?
And I mean, me being a Spielberg fan, it's just... It was his most adventurous, There was no dinosaurs.
That was his most adventurous?
I said it wasn't.
Oh, that's why. That's his most adventurous? Yes. When he goes to Auschwitz, that's his most adventurous?
Yeah. Not E.T.
You fucking weirdo. All right.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That's not as adventurous as Schindler's List.
Forget Egypt in a snake cave. That's weird. But no, this is his... All right.
No, I think that's what, kind of... I didn't go look right away because it was like, there's going to be one of those boring ones, Mm-hmm. As a kid, that's how I felt, you know. I mean, my parents, I remember when it came out, my parents watched it, and to me, it's just like, so I just really stayed away from those kind of movies and watched it this year, and it was good. I mean, like I told you, I loved it. I just thought the ending, I thought Liam Neeson. I almost said Leslie Nielsen. I'd have been better. Leslie Nielsen would have been
it would have been a very interesting movie. Yes. I'd have been the Leslie Nielsen Project.
Yeah, but I thought his acting was way, I thought he overdid it at the end, with the crying and everything, and this button, if I sold this button, I could have probably saved 2 more lives, all that. Yeah. I thought he tried too hard to get that, little gold guy. Yeah. But...
Oh, you're talking about Oscar.
Talking about the Oscar. Yeah.
Oscar winning the Oscar.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think it was totally fucked up.
But it was a great movie, though. I thought...
Oh, man, I wouldn't say that, but...
What's his name? Fiennes, right?
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, I thought
he was an
awesome.
He stole the show.
Evil son of a bitch.
The fucking gun.
Such a fantastic performance.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he totally bought into his character.
Yeah. No,
it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not so much Liam Neeson. I mean, when you really look at the movie, it's just Nazis making deals. Yeah. There's no action in the movie. It's all dialogue.
It is.
Yes. Nazis making deals with other Nazis.
Right.
But
it's not that interesting.
As a child when you watch that movie, because there's so much dialogue.
Of course.
So it's like Snoozeville.
Yes.
But when you're an adult and you're listening to this stuff, and the time when the Jewish ladies tell them they're building that shit wrong, they're gonna fuck it up.
Oh yeah, it says the foundation is
that's right,
is wrong or bad or whatever.
Yeah.
And the fucking dude shoots her.
Yeah. And then orders it to be rebuilt.
Right.
Yeah, she was right. Yeah, rebuild it.
Yeah. I mean, just little things like that. It's like, wow. This makes these characters more menacing than seeing them go around decapitating people, but just hearing like they're thinking,
It does in the cases of Ray Fiennes' character.
Oh yeah.
But Neeson, our big protagonist, can even affect the accent. I just thought he was like a joke.
Just a hater.
The whole movie. I like Liam Neeson. I just didn't like him.
You've seen Taken too many times.
I haven't seen it at all. But I've judged it.
Can't imagine him outside of an action film.
No, you're right.
Back to my aversion to films, though.
Yeah, okay, please.
I would way rather read Night by Elie Wiesel than watch Schindler's List. Right?
Really?
Because it's a much more vivid.
I agree.
It's a much more visceral experience, vivid experience for me. And I can't speak for anybody else, but when I get into a book, like I am in a book. Like I'm reading The Brothers K right now, which Billy's also reading.
I am, yes.
And it's such an amazing experience. I'm glad they've never made a movie. I don't think they could make a movie.
No, I don't think they could.
But to create that in your head.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure what I'm imagining is completely different than what everybody else that's ever read that book has imagined. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my aversion to it, as it's a much more I sound like a child here, but magical experience.
Let me ask you this. What's your favorite part of Elie Wiesel's book?
When the father is starving to death at the end. And I only say that because I can't relate to starving to death, but I've been trying over the last year and a half intermittent fasting, and when you get to about 24 hours of fasting, your body starts kicking out all of these things.
Yeah.
There's a word that's evading me right now.
Anthony?
Toxins?
No, it's not. There's a fucking word for it. I don't know what it is, but it starts kicking out all these things, and you get dialed in. And he talks about like he starts hallucinating when he gets the longest fast I've ever had was 6 days.
Yes.
And I knew I needed to stop because I started hallucinating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And for me that was such an amazing to read that. And I just read Night for the first time 2 years ago. It was not, or maybe a year ago. It was not that long ago. And when they talk about something in a book, this is why Steinbeck and Dostoevsky are the greatest writers that ever lived. Is because they talk about things and they make you feel like you've lived them.
Yes.
It's just in a way that I've never experienced before. But that was my favorite part of the book. I got on a tangent there.
Yes. No, you're right. You know what my favorite part is? It kills me. I think it's one of the creepiest things I've ever read in my entire life. So in Elie Wiesel's book, Night, there's the character, an old man who speaks to our protagonist, right?
Yeah.
And he says, do you know who is the most important philosopher in the Jewish religion? He goes, what? He goes, Hitler. He's like, what? It's blasphemy. He goes, well, no. It's not blasphemy. Hitler is the only person in Jewish history who kept his promise to the Jews.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that was one of the creepiest things I've ever read.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That book is also strange because it's 5 pages of happiness and then 110 pages of hell.
Right.
It's 5 pages. They're in Transylvania, I think. Or Liechtenstein. One of the two. No,
he's originally from Transylvania.
Yeah. And there's 5 pages where he's describing his life before the Germans roll in. And it's great. And it's awesome and it's happy. And then they come in and it's just you're waiting for it to pick up and get happy and it just doesn't.
Right.
It just never does.
It never
just
does.
gets darker and darker.
And darker.
And darker.
Yeah.
Do you have this book?
I do.
Mind if I borrow it?
Well, not at all.
Okay.
It's 100 pages.
It's a quick read.
It's a quick read. It's unbelievable.
It's a quick read. It will fuck up your whole life.
Yeah, don't expect to be cheerful when you're done with it. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Same as Janet Jameson's autobiography, which you were also really upset. He was really upset by it. Yeah.
Did you read Janet Jameson's?
I actually. Upset you.
I work in porn. I'm a software engineer for Hustler.
Oh, I was hoping you would bring it up,
so
I wouldn't have to
kind of
dig it out
curiosity.
of you. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, I'm a software engineer for Larry Flint Productions.
Yes.
And that encompasses Barely Legal, Hustler, Forbidden and a number of smaller channels, but obviously Hustler and Barely Legal being kind of the breadwinners of that group of shell companies, I guess.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm based out of Boulder, and it's surprisingly professional outside of the graphic nudity on your screen most hours of the day.
So what is it exactly that you do?
I'm a software engineer.
I know, but like your day-to-day like operation, like
like right now we have an application, a web application, so you can watch your phone, your tablet, anything that has a browser. Really, it'll scale to.
Okay.
And it's in beta testing, so we just had all of our people at the office test it out.
Okay.
And then they wrote down. We had a sheet just asking like, what did you like, what didn't you like. So right now we're going through and fixing things that the majority of people didn't like. But it's the way that app development works, it's usually a year of development, 2 months of testing and release. Mm-hmm. So we're almost at the end of this cycle. So we're actually going to be starting a virtual reality project.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I've got an Oculus Rift at my desk. And we'll be building virtual reality pornography.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw a video, a documentary a couple years back on sex. And they're talking about like the future of sex, and they had it might have been Oculus Rift, but they had virtual reality goggles.
Yeah.
That they're just walking on the street, just showing people like, what do you think of this? And it was all like porn based and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of the stuff that they were showing in the documentary looked like that. It still was like blocky, almost like the that Dire Straits video from the 80s.
Yeah.
Like it's still, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it was still
close.
Blocky.
Yeah.
It was very like not realistic.
And very cartoonish.
But well, it would have been better if it were cartoonish. Like if it looked like an anime, that would look fucking badass. But they're trying to capture reality, but it just still looked computer generated. And, not perfectly round corners and shit, but they were talking about the future of it, about how this is going to be fucking big. The same documentary I was watching when that subject came up before about the having cyber sex.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, same documentary is talking about that shit.
Where we can screw someone through a computer, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's this is the start of the end of sex. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you put on the goggles and seen the applications, I've seen the ones that we've been testing. We're not going to be having sex as a species that much longer. You think about the effort to reward ratio. Let's say you've got two choices as a single male. You get off work and you can try to go out to the bar and expend effort and spend money and try to get a girl's number and court her and whatnot. Or you can go home and you can put on a headset, and they have these things now called techno-dildonics, which will sync up with porn, and you can put it on your cock. It's like a belt with like a fleshlight, and you can have an experience that to your brain is identical to sex, and you can pick whoever you want. You're like, I want Jenna Jameson when she was 21. I want fucking Liz Taylor back in the 50s. Right?
Oh, Liz Taylor now.
Zero. She's dead, asshole.
I don't think she is.
Point being, zero effort. 100% of the time, you're going to pick that zero effort. Oh, and not to mention, there's zero risk of pregnancy or STDs. Right. Yeah. And right now, I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. I mean, I work in it, and I'm kind of the opinion that like, if I'm not doing it, someone will. And I'm fortunate in that I get to learn all these cutting edge technologies, and that's why I'm in it. But it's scary as hell. Like you think that looking at a 4K iMac computer screen with porn on is addictive? Put on the Oculus Rift. It's a different fucking universe of addiction, and that operates the same reward system that those dopamine pathways that cocaine does, that marijuana does. It's the real deal.
It's like Demolition Man.
Remember? Yes.
With the fucking headset.
Is that Bruce Willis?
No, that's
Stallone.
Stallone and
Snipes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Schneider.
Is that the one where they're fucking?
Yes, with the headset.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that was, for some reason I thought that was Bruce Willis.
No, that's.
So there seems
This is weird.
Yes, it is very fucking weird.
Pretty soon the 3 seashells are going to come to play.
1984 is happening, right? Like these authors, these visionaries knew, right? We know. You just have to be bold enough to say it out loud. Right. That's it. Like don't let anybody censor you. Just like look at what's happening and say, I'm not an idiot. I'm not an outlier. I'm just going to speak about it.
Do you have any moral qualms about?
I have tons of moral qualms. I hate porn. I cannot stand it. I do not watch it in my personal life.
We've talked about that, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. I can't. It ruins sex, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, as a man, the most primal thing in the world is just fucking the shit out of a girl, man. It really is. Like, that is the most primal shit you can do.
Hey, you told me that once, Frank.
and when you look at a screen and you can just, without any effort whatsoever, you can just hit play, 1080p, titties in my face. I want to see a blowjob with Bush, right? That takes away that drive, which is what defines us as males. So it ruins us. It is ruining males. There's a subreddit, if you guys are on Reddit. There's a subreddit called Dead Bedrooms, and fucking 97% of the posts on there are the wife or the girlfriend's boyfriend or husband is watching too much porn and he won't fuck her anymore. And I can see where that could spiral out of control without some self-restraint and without some acknowledgement that it's a problem, right? You go on the relationship subreddit, that shit pops up all the time too. It's the same thing, you know? And what subset of the population Reddit is, I don't know if it's just fat white guys. Right. I don't know, but I'm on Reddit. I don't know. You know, that's a different discussion, but I feel like it's a decent representation of the population as a whole. And you see that theme popping up more and more. And this is why relationships are failing, for a number of reasons. But porn's a big one, right? Because if the sexual energy isn't there, what's the point of being in a relationship?
Yeah.
There's no point, right?
So companionship?
Sure, but like if you can have an understanding where you're in a companionship with someone but you can fuck other people, maybe. But like, I don't know. I couldn't be in a relationship. You know, obviously there's circumstances, like after a woman gives birth, you can have sex for a while. If there's surgeries and whatnot, you got to be understanding. But if it gets to a point where, like, there's no sexual energy there for a prolonged period of time, like, I'm not willing to live the rest of my life without that. And I can only speak for myself there, but I'm not willing to do it.
Yeah, no.
So
that would be an issue. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I think there needs to be education about the dangers of porn because it is a drug. It legitimately, anything that operates that pathway, caffeine does it too, by the way.
Are you listening, Jeff?
I am.
Okay.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very important. I think that we need to educate kids on all of the major things. Even coffee, man. Like, coffee is those same pathways. And, like, I've made a concerted effort over the last 3 or 4 months.
But not ecstasy, because we've all accepted that.
No, I mean, well, Mitch Hedberg has a great quote. No, not Mitch Hedberg. Louis C.K. He says, I don't do drugs. What does he say? He says, I don't do drugs so that when I do drugs, it's awesome. Or something to that effect. It's not like don't have coffee. It's not like don't watch porn. It's not like don't do cocaine. Right? It's just like, do it sparingly enough that life outside of it is still life. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's not don't do those things. It's just like have a control on it, you know?
Yeah.
Billy?
Can we all agree on this?
Yeah.
Or were we just defeated by his...
I'm not. No. I want y'all to bring the counter arguments here. I feel.
There are no counter arguments. The thing is, he's so tall.
He does this all the time. Every time we're having a conversation, he's like, "You're so tall," and I'm like, "What the fuck does it have to do with the words that are coming out of my mouth?"
How tall are you?
It has a lot.
6'4". It's not that tall.
There's a lot to do with it.
Every time I go out on South Broadway, there's taller dudes than me. Like I don't.
Well, it bothers me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't, man. Maybe that's the problem.
It is my.
Why should that bother you? Why do the Jews bother you? Why does my height bother you?
Black people?
So you're just going to pick a different subset of the population?
Yes, of course.
Right, a different socioeconomic
What else can I do? You painted me into a corner, Andrew, you feisty character, you.
I found Billy on the corner. I should preface that for all people listening.
Please continue. Yes.
I found him on the stoop corner across the alley from my house, hanging out, not in like a prostitution kind of sense.
For once.
For once. And and that's how this all came to be. And then I found Dana and met Dana and Michaela and the lesbians next door. And
there's lots of them here.
Yeah, there is.
I don't remember their names. That's why I call them. They're lesbians. I don't know what their names are.
But we have a project, don't we?
We do.
We have an idea.
We do. You guys know about. You all know about Bill.
Oh, they know about
Unfortunately, we know about Stoss.
Unfortunately?
Unfortunately?
No, I'm just saying, Billy talks about Stoss.
Well, Billy approached me. Well, Billy came to my improv show.
Yeah.
What was that, a month ago?
Yeah.
A month ago, maybe?
Uh-huh.
And we talked maybe the next night or 2 nights later, and he said, "You're Stoss." And I said, "Who the fuck is Stoss?" He sent me the script. And I said, I think this is something I can dive into.
Yeah.
And I've been practicing the accent. The accents, the mannerisms aren't the issue. Like, I can be an arrogant asshole easy.
Yeah.
No problem. It's the accent.
The accent. Yeah.
You know. So, da.
Yeah, but he's been really working on it. Nice.
Billy told me the other day that you was hiding in the corner watching you. and he heard you talking to your girlfriend, like, trying to practice in a Russian accent.
Yeah.
And he got a little weepy about it.
I was just
glad that I found a real Stoss.
He told me, he's like, I've been waiting years for this.
Yes, I have been.
It has been.
I've been waiting years to meet you. Now, generally, it's not men that say that kind of thing, but
he actually used those words. I've been waiting years.
He got down on a knee.
Yes.
He got down on one knee. Yeah. It was, and then actually the Titanic theme song came on. It was really uncomfortable.
Is that the Celine Dion?
My Heart Will Go On.
Yeah.
It's a classic. 1997. Never forget.
He knows the year and everything.
I remember that was back in the day when we had VHSs, and that came out on a double VHS.
Yeah.
You had to
rewind. List.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
So was Schindler's List. Yeah.
And Saving Private Ryan.
Both, at least the first two of those.
They're both something that you had to subject yourself to a certain amount of tissues to get through it, right? It's either
for crying
or...
Yeah, what's the other purpose?
Well, you can imagine.
Cleaning
stuff, yeah.
Yes. Bodily fluids. Like
some people ejaculate to the idea of Jews being... murdered wholesale in another... But, I mean...
So, what's your improv then? Like the thing that Billy went to your mic. What do you do?
So I went through a year of school, classes for it, 3 hours a week, and then we did a bunch of shows along the way to get you ready, and then we did a grad show, which was a headlining spot for a month, a residency essentially for a month. And then he came to, they have all these different shows at the Bovine Metropolis downtown. And he came to, I was participating in a single elimination tournament. It was 3 versus 3. So 3-man improv teams versus 3-man improv teams. And we played a team that had been together for a really long time. And we lost. And I think we deserved to lose. But we basically played a number of games, some of which we knew, and then some of which were randomly drawn. And we had opportunity, we knew all the potential games that could have been drawn. So we had an opportunity to practice for about 2 months beforehand. But he came to that one, and we were Canadian CrossFit. Yeah. Now, there's a term in improv called the Canadian Cross. It's when you're not on the stage, but you walk across the stage and you essentially drop a bomb on the scene. Like 2 people are having a conversation, and you walk across and you just say, "I'm sorry to hear about your mother's terminal cancer," and you walk off. Now, in improv, you have to accept that. Yeah. You can't say no, because that ruins the scene. Right. So now your mother has terminal cancer, and you have to figure out how the fuck to deal with it. Yeah. But that's a Canadian Cross. So we did essentially a play on words, and we were Canadian CrossFit, and we wore Canadian flag colored stuff, and we lost, but it was good. It was good. I think we were a strong team, though. We were a young team. We're all been in it for about a year and a half now. So
yeah, nice.
Well, I perform about once a month, so I got another show coming up next month.
Awesome.
Where do you perform at?
The Bovine Metropolis downtown.
Okay, yeah. Which part? I've walked by there a few times.
Yeah, just a little hole in the wall right off 16th there.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's like free therapy.
Nice.
Sandy's being really loud out there.
Sandy's hilarious.
What do you want me to do about it?
Silence the woman.
I can't. We're doing a podcast with you.
Or invite her in here.
Yes.
No.
That's the only choice we have.
You don't want that.
No, we don't. We don't want that. We don't want that.
Okay.
Andrew, do you remember the time when you were a football player?
Yeah, I was 350 pounds. Yeah, I was gonna go play college ball. Had a bunch of scholarship offers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the weird thing about being that heavy is you're not happy with yourself. I don't think anybody that's that heavy really likes themselves at all. I'm fairly certain. It's such an exhausting lifestyle to live. It's unbelievable. It's so exhausting.
So you were really 350?
Yeah.
I thought you were just fucking around.
No,
I thought you were just playing off Billy.
No, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Yeah, I stepped on the scale one day, and like 2 days earlier, it said like 349, and then it said like error. I was too heavy for the scale,
Right.
and I was like, bro.
How long ago was this?
I was 18,
How old are you now?
28,
Okay, so 10 years ago?
10 years ago. Yeah.
So, how long did it take you to lose the weight?
It's been just super gradual.
Just all 10 years?
Yeah, I never did any crash diets. I just started I cut out soda. Mm-hmm. And then it's just been, I'm in the best shape of my life now, and it's easy to maintain when I make small, measurable changes.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never tried like the Atkins or any, crash course diet or anything like that.
Right.
So just small progression and
What do you weigh now?
250.
250?
Yeah.
That's 100 pounds, huh?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Good
man.
job.
Thanks.
So you said you've been doing intermittent fasting. You just began that?
About a year and a half ago.
So what protocol do you follow?
16/8.
That's what I do.
Yeah, man.
Really?
So I didn't eat
phenomenal.
I didn't eat until 2 p.m. today.
Yeah, I ate at about the same time.
Yeah.
And then when I had that snack when I got here.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, the word I was thinking earlier was endorphins. Your body starts to kick out endorphins.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, intermittent fasting is it's a game changer. It's a real game changer.
It is too, and I found with me because I started doing it about a year and a half ago, and when I first started doing it, that was my first I decided I was going to get healthy. I was 275 pounds, and I was introduced to what?
Nothing. What?
Why are you laughing at?
Yeah.
What? What did I do? You screwed me. He's the one that started it. Yeah, we're mocking you.
No, I'm just looking at him like, dude, you might lose your new buddy to Anthony. They're gonna go fast together. Yeah, you're stuck with me.
We're gonna go to
the other tall guy.
Well, I don't understand eye movements. Eye movements are.
You better watch out with these two.
That's right.
Yeah, he fucked me up.
I stole your new best friend.
He did a dick move. He stole my best friend on a dick move. I don't like it.
Sorry, man. Sorry. We have something in common. Where'd you guys don't?
Where's your fasting at?
He's tall and handsome. You're short and not so much.
Fucking problem in my life.
Oh, Billy.
Yeah, I can't be tall and I can't be handsome, for God's sakes.
And you can't fast.
No, I can fast. Andrew, you know I can fast.
I don't know you.
You know I can. You know I can. You know I can fast.
We've never talked about that.
So what is this 18 what are you
What you do is it's a period where you have a feeding window and a fasting window within a 24-hour period.
Okay.
At least the 16/8. And what it is, you go 16 hours without eating, 8-hour window in which you eat. So pretty much for me, it winds up being that I just, when I wake up in the morning, I just go about my day until I start to feel hungry. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I have my first meal, which is usually sometime afternoon. And I wake up at 5 in the morning. So I'm going all morning without eating. Mm-hmm. And then I'll break fast when I feel hungry around lunchtime. And then from there, as I'm hungry, I'll eat, but it's only within a 8-hour window. So come 8 o'clock, I just stop. It's okay, this is my feeding window. I'm done for the day. And then, or depending on whenever it was I broke fast, and then just wait another 16 hours. and it's a timing issue.
Okay.
And so what happens is after about 12 hours, your body starts because it takes about a full 12 hours for you to digest the last meal you just had.
Right.
So after that, what happens is your body is just running on burning fat because of the whole insulin regulation within your blood, and so insulin will drop far enough to where you start burning body fat, and then so the longer you go on that, you're essentially just working on that, burning off body fat, but you're also giving your digestive system a break. And there are other protocols where people will fast for 24 hours or even 36 hours once or twice a week, just to kind of give their digestive system a break. And it's not all for weight loss either. It's for
muscle building
and just because when you're not eating, what happens? Insulin drops, human growth hormone skyrockets, and so therefore you will build muscle and burn fat. And but also immune system improvements and just all these other anti-inflammation properties and just like all these wonderful benefits from it. Like I was saying before, when I first got introduced to it, I was just like, well, I'm going to start getting healthy. I'm going to start intermittent fasting. I was still... I wasn't too keen on... I didn't have my nutrition dialed in, so I was still eating just, whatever. And so... what would happen is I'd find where come lunch I'd break fast and then all of a sudden I'd just get all sleepy and just want to take a fucking nap. And I later found out that it was because of the with me personally, bread does that to me. Pasta's refined fucking carbohydrates just make me... It spikes my insulin, and then an hour later, I just fucking crash off of it. And then I gave that up for a while, and then when I started getting into like paleo and ketogenic diets, I started like because all the weight I lost about 25 pounds just doing intermittent fasting. After I stopped, I put that 25 pounds back on, and then when I started doing the low carb diets, that's when I dropped 60 pounds. And then I kind of flatlined with my progress, and then I started doing intermittent fasting again, and then that is bringing me down. I'm starting to burn more fat again. So, but that's what I found. But now that I'm doing intermittent fasting with a low carb diet, I don't have those crashes in the afternoon. I don't feel like shit. It's just this constant. And before it was a struggle. Like every morning I'd wake up and I had to fight. I'd look at the clock. What time is it? Oh, I can't eat yet. I can't eat. I was always struggling and fighting. Whereas now I don't get hungry. I don't crave anything. And it gets to the point sometimes I'm just like, oh shit, it's 3 o'clock. I should probably fucking eat something and break fast that way. And it's just like it's my body. It just responds so great with a low carb diet and a intermittent fasting protocol. It's phenomenal.
The other thing that I don't think you touched on that's huge about intermittent fasting, and they're starting clinical trials with this with cancer patients, is something happens after about 12 hours called autophagy, and it's essentially your body starts breaking down bad cells. And it has incredible anti-aging properties, and they think it can fight cancer. Essentially, your body gets into a state because you can fast for way longer than you think, and it's healthy. It's perfectly healthy. So they're trying this out now, and so there's these people that have been doing it for a while now. The Greeks used to do it, by the way. This is not a new thing. But there's all these you can look online. There's all these old people that are in incredible shape, and they're like, "What do you attribute it to?" It's like I just never have breakfast. Yeah. I just eat in the afternoon. And that's it. And and for me, I've put on muscle and lost fat. And for the longest time, I thought that those were contradictory ideas. Right. I thought you had to do one at a time. But now I realize you can do both. I just deadlifted 600 pounds the other day.
Wow, nice.
Right? And I've lost 2 or 3% body fat in the last couple months. So it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It just takes a little bit of willpower to get started, and then your body's like, well, I'm not hungry. Why? I don't need to eat. I'm not hungry. Yeah. And coffee helps too. I have coffee. I'm not like a...
Yeah. I do too. Yeah.
I'm not a strict water, but...
Yeah. How long have you been lifting heavy?
I've been lifting since I played football, since junior high, I think.
Okay, so...
but then I took some time off after because I was just so burnt out. And then I've been doing 5x5. with deadlift, squat, bench press, pull-ups, weighted dips.
Right.
And I lift 5 days a week, and then I run on Saturdays or I go skiing if it's the weekend.
That's some dedication. I started getting into, when I first started about a year ago, when I first started the keto diet, I started getting into weightlifting.
Yeah.
And the 5x5 protocol and, all the compound movements and stuff. I'm sorry, really?
He's upset right now.
No, not at all.
Do you want to jump in with the joke here?
Yeah, this is a long time.
I don't know if you've tried this yet, but have you ever like gone on a 24-hour fast and then before you break the fast, work out? Work out and then break the fast?
I haven't done that. Not on 24. I have on the 16-8 protocol.
Okay.
That's what I was doing. I was doing my lifting in the morning before I broke my fast in the afternoon.
And that's great too. If you get to like 24, your HGH output is insane.
Yeah.
And if you do like a heavy compound movement, Billy's trying not to fucking cry over here. If you do like a heavy compound movement, like 5x5 squats or deadlifts on a 24-hour fast, your body's response is insane. Like, I feel like you get 3 times the benefits of any other workout. And then the best part is you can gorge yourself right after.
Right.
And your body's in a prime position to just crush carbs, whatever, So
I'm gonna fucking try that. You know what I think is great about this whole situation? Billy now knows how it feels to be Ricky and myself. All of a sudden, there's a conversation about shit you don't care about or have no opinion on.
Right. This is not Russian literature. This is not Ukrainian history.
Right. Yes, maybe you're right.
I just like you were telling something. Billy's like, yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
It's been about 20 minutes since they heard my voice. I should let them know I'm still in the room.
So what are your thoughts on this?
I exist.
But I do have to get going in a minute here, guys.
It's all right. I think we're about 12 minutes over the hour mark.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, do you want to wrap it? Do you want to give your final thoughts?
Good night. Thank you.
All right. Cool.